And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower, and this is a video series that I do occasionally where I go through a whole bunch of games that I really don't feel like doing a complete review for, and I usually don't like any of the games, and that's the way it is here. I don't hate all these games, well, I hate a couple of them, but you know, sometimes they're just not my style, or they're just a different game. So here's a quick rundown of each of them, why I'm not a big fan of these different games. We'll start with Happy Dim Sum, and I like dim sum. I like it a lot, actually. In fact, after I played this game, I went and ate dim sum. But this is just literally, it's a game where you're trying to feed other people. So I play cards in front of you, and once there's a collection of cards in front of you, you're full, but it's just a take-that game. I play good cards with myself, bad cards with other people, and here I'm helping you complete a set. Cute artwork and everything, it's just not my style of game at all. Combo Clash. This is a game from Hub Games in which you have a bunch of animal tiles, and you're going to be placing these animal tiles on the board. When you do so, it gives you some sort of special ability, but you also are trying to form a group, and you'll pull that group off the board. It sounds good, and it has really cool artwork in the game, but it's so random. I mean, it is way random what tiles you draw, where you place them, how the board looks in front of you. I mean, it's 2 to 4 players. I would only ever play it at 2, and even then, barely. It just feels like it's chaotic, crazy. I drew this tile, that tile's better than another tile. Meh. All right, One Deck Dungeon, and here's the Forest of Shadows expansion. Now, there's a lot of good things to say about these. They have a good selection of heroes in them. There's a lot of cool concepts here. It just doesn't work for me. This is a game which is a solo game, and I like solo games more than I used to. Actually, it says 1 to 2 players. I've only ever played it solo, where you have a character and a bunch of different colored dice, and you go through a dungeon. There's an app version of this, too, where you can play through the whole thing. You roll dice, you're allocating dice to different things, there's a timing mechanism. It just feels like there's a lot of rules in this game, and there is a decent amount of rules, when you can go in this dungeon, how you do things, but it just comes down to luck. There are ways to mitigate the dice that you roll, but sometimes you just don't roll what you're going to do. So the concept is cool. The theming about going through a dungeon on your own, I'm definitely on board with that. I don't think I hate the gameplay itself. It's just not, I'm not a big fan of it. It just feels like when I'm done and I've lost or maybe won, it's because I got good rolls and or bad rolls. And again, I know you can mitigate them, but you can't mitigate everything, and sometimes it's just the way it works. It just felt a little too lucky. Then we have Crack the Code. Now this is for all you Hanabi fans out there, because this is a game in which you have a bunch of rubber balls in front of you, and everyone can see them but you. And you are going to be trying to figure out a code by using computer commands, like take a ball from the screen in front of me and give it to somebody else. But there are some problems with this game. The concept of the game is fine. It tries to be a legacy game. It comes with little boxes. Oh, I wonder what's in here. Envelopes, like 2 of them. It's just really weird. It doesn't need to be a legacy game, but it's pretending to be one. It comes with it has this you can't make any mistakes in this game. If you make a mistake, you lose. But a game like this, you got to be able to make a mistake in, because sometimes I need to move a ball that I can't see to you, and I don't know which one's where. We're not allowed to communicate. By the way, the rules are very, very odd on the communication. It just doesn't work. But the main reason I don't recommend it is the components. This is the bag you pull the balls out of. I guess it's to look like a USB cord bag, not very good. But the balls themselves, they call them marbles in the rules, but they are rubber balls. And when you put them on the end, they don't roll down. You have to push them. They're not big enough, or they're too big for the trays. And the cards aren't long enough. You can see the balls peeking around them sometimes on the outside. It's a nice idea for a game, but the production of it really detracts from it, and I can't recommend it on that alone. Fight Your Friends. This is a game from, well, I guess it's called Fight Your Friends, the company, or Cold War. Build a crew, call the shots, fight your friends. This is a game where you play cards, and then you flip the cards over. It's like a big rock, paper, scissors game. And if you have this card against this type of card, it adds things. There's a lot of different, if you play this and this combined. But here's the thing. You have no idea what cards your opponent picked. None at all. So the whole game is literally random. You can build this and say, well, if my opponent plays this and this, I have no idea what they're going to play at any given point in time. There are way too many rules which are not clearly explained at all for a simple card game that at the end of the day is just flat out luck. Plot a lot. Oh, I wanted to like this game. It says it's a charming card game. Don't call your own game charming. In this game, you have a field in front of you. You're planting different goods in the field. When it's fully planted, you'll be able to harvest them, get points. That's an interesting concept. It works fine, except there's tons of take that cards, and there's overpowered cards in this game. You can have 2 fields where you're planting stuff. You might find a third one, or you might have someone take a field away from you, which puts you at such a huge deficit. There's take that elements in this game. The game can be literally unfun for one of the players if they have everything practically destroyed, and it has a runaway leader. The only good thing about this game is the artwork. Everything else is just terribly bad. And then Blood of the Northmen from Carl Chuddick. Now, I thought I would like this game. I like a lot of Carl Chuddick's games. This one had some neat plastic miniatures, but, and I got to start with the plastic miniatures, I don't know who made the production call for this game, but it's terrible. You have these little plastic miniatures for each player, and they're all the same color. It is an area control game. You need to know who has more. They're different in their model shape, but they're so small, they're very difficult. We put ours in the corner of the hexes to try to figure out whose was whose, and it's still, you look at the board, it's a sea of gray. In their latest Kickstarter, I think they have an upgrade version where it's color. They were so, that's just really bad. The game also has where you have a hand of tiles. It's like cards. And then you play a tile and you match it out like Carcassonne, attaching tiles. And then depending on the size of the tile you play, you get actions, which sounds good, except every action in this game is boring. Move someone, add somebody. And then you got to sit there and go, okay, I got 2 mountain sides, 1 river side. And this is the base game. With the advanced game, there's even more things to think about. And you take a few actions. Every once in a while, there's combat in which you play tiles from your hand for a very lackluster, boring combat. This game, and then has special abilities. It has a huge rule book for a really simplistic game. This game is straight boring. I mean, really boring. Then you mix in the bad components, those little miniatures, the rulebook not being that great in my opinion, and it's just a mess. This is my biggest disappointment of the ones I'm talking about today, because I like the cover, I like the theme, I thought it'd be interesting, and it's not. The idea of tiles being put out and being cards in your hand is a clever idea, but is it fun? And for me, at least, the answer is no. So those are 7 games that I found to be no good, but perhaps you'll love them. You never know. I'm sure people in the comments will tell you, which ones do you like? Which ones am I wrong about? Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.